In this short video, I would like to work out how to convert miles per hour to meters per second, the long way without using Google. We'll do a specific example here. I want to try to convert 55 miles per hour into meters per second. Miles per hour is a common unit of speed that we know in our everyday lives, but meters per second is the standard unit of speed and velocity that we're going to use mostly in physics class. So there's a number of ways to do this. Maybe the first way that comes to mind is, let's say, a two-step process, where first you would try to convert 55 miles into meters, and then you convert hours into seconds and divide the two to end up with meters per second. Let's try it that way and see how it works out. So to begin with, we'd have 55 miles per hour, or 55 miles, and we would like to multiply that by a string of factors following the example in the book to end up with meters using conversion factors that I know or can easily look up. Well, there's a couple that I know. The first one is, could we get easily and quickly between miles and kilometers? The reason why I write it like this is that 55 miles, the miles unit here, is implied in the numerator, and down here it's in the denominator. So if I can just fill these numbers out, then I know that the miles will divide out and I'm going to be left with kilometers. That would get me part of the way to meters. Well, I happen to know that 1 mile is pretty closely 1.61 kilometers. Now you could find that in the appendix in the back of your book. Now you don't have to memorize these conversion factors, but you do need to know this process. All right, well, we're left with kilometers, but we want meters, so we need another conversion factor string here to convert kilometers into meters. Again, since the kilometers is in the numerator, and I want meters in the, kilogram is in the denominator, and I want meters in the numerator, I'm going to come up with a factor that would divide out the kilometers and leave me with meters. I happen to know that 1 kilometer is the same as 1,000, or 10 to the third meters. So I have my answer here, that 55 miles is the same as 1,610 meters. Well, we can do the same thing now with 1 hour. Well, 1 hour, I'd like to end up with seconds. So that one's pretty easy. I'll do it the long way here. We'll convert hours into minutes because I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. And then we're going to convert minutes into seconds with another factor. So I know that 1 minute is the same as 60 seconds. So all that remains to be done is multiply that out, and I'm going to be left with 60 times 60, which is 3,600 seconds. Lastly, if I want the speed, I just need to do the distance, 1,610 meters, divided by the time, 3,600 seconds, and I'm left with the answer, which is going to be 24.6 meters per second if I did the math right. Now, of course, I've rounded off a little bit here, and we'll learn about rounding as we go through the class, but there's a little rule of thumb. We started with 55. That has 2 significant figures. And we have here an answer that has 3, 2, the 4, and the 6. So we're probably, in the end, forced to round this off to 25 meters per second. The reason for this rounding is something that we'll cover in lab. So that's one way that we could do it. But there is another way, maybe a bit faster, that would get us to the end much quicker. And that is to do the whole thing in one swoop. So let's see how that would work. If I want to try to do the whole thing in one swoop, what I would do is start with my entire quantity. So I have 55 miles in the numerator and hours in the denominator. And I want to multiply this by a string of factors that will get the miles into meters. So like I had before, miles to meters. And I know that 1 mile is 1,610 meters from the last thing. And then I can take care of the seconds by multiplying by 1 hour. Now in the numerator is 3,600 seconds. The reason for this grouping of units is now I'm going to get the miles to cancel out, and I'm left with meters. And I'm going to get the hours to cancel out, and I'm going to be left with seconds in the denominator. So all I have to do is take 55, multiply it by 1,610, and divide it by 3,600, and I'm going to end up with the same answer of 24.6 meters per second. This way of stringing along conversion factors is the most efficient way to convert one quantity to another.